1.
Okay, this video is to complement and supplement the work that we did in class in terms of the feedback. I just wanted to, in regards to the question on Squealer that we looked at last lesson, I just want to clarify something in terms of the introduction. I just want to go over them briefly again. We're looking at two sentences in the introduction, one that answers the question, and the second one that relates to context. Now, if we have a look at this first example, again, this is one we did have a look at in lesson, and we have the first sentence that answers the question and does it very, very well, but we're missing the second one about context. And as we look at our PE paragraphs, again, context is so important. It's worth half the marks. So right away, right at the start of our answer, we've lost almost half the marks already. Even though we've got a fairly good introduction, we need context. Again, this second one, again, very good level of understanding, but we're missing the context sentence. The example that I showed you, we have the two sentences, and that second one is the one that's missing from most of your responses. Squealer personifies propaganda, and this tells us, the readers, that in the Russian Revolution, Stalin uses propaganda to his advantage. Now, okay, it's not perfect. Stalin is spelled incorrectly. I think you could have extended there to say to his advantage. Well, what was he trying to do? But for an introduction, this is good. And we have those two sentences, which is what we need. So moving on, that was just a quick recap of what we did in the lesson. The feedback that we managed to do in lesson. I want to look at the PE paragraphs that you wrote. Obviously, you need an introduction paragraph and then 3 PE paragraphs that, again, expand on that introduction. I've marked your work. Here are some of the things that we need to work on as a class. Some of you will need to work on all of them, and others of you only need to work on maybe 1 or 2. But then this will be the focus of our work for the next question that we do. Context. We need more of it. And it needs to be embedded more. So it can't be right at the end of the paragraph. It needs to be within the analysis. So if you're looking at a textual reference or a quotation, it needs to be part of that analysis. Again, we did look at this, but we need to work on it. Just like similar to, which is like, these are types of phrases that we can use to introduce the context. We need more textual reference. I actually thought that we would struggle with the quotations, but we would be okay with the textual reference. It's actually the other way around. The quotations are great. They're mainly well structured. We need textual reference. Develop explanation. Again, if we can use because or which to extend our explanation, that will allow us to say more. Keywords also become important in quotations and context. There's 3 ways there that we can extend our analysis, and we need to practice doing that. Structure. I would say still about a quarter of the class needs to think about their spelling, punctuation, and grammar in terms of the accuracy of their writing. There are 8 marks available for this, okay? That's almost 25% of the overall mark for this question. And we need to work on how to embed quotes. So I just want to have a look at a couple of examples. This is the first one, and I've included this example. Obviously, we need to get some spellings correctly, but I've included this one because if you have a read of it, okay, pause the video, have a read of it. If you go right down to the end, Squealer represents propaganda in the Russian Revolution as this is personification. Now, this person is right, but it feels just like it's been added on at the end. It doesn't feel part of the analysis. It doesn't feel like they truly understand propaganda, personification, and Squealer's role. That they've heard it in lesson, they've remembered that they have to include it somewhere. Oh, I haven't done so far, I just add it at the end. Yes, you have referred to context, but for me, this isn't good enough in terms of the marks we want to get. It needs to be embedded throughout, and I'll show you what I mean by that. Again, if we have a look here, in the novel it was Squealer who lied to the other animals that the pigs disliked the milk. Okay, that is textual reference, the first thing. That refers to a point in the text that the pigs dislike the milk. It's specific, it's good. Squealer represents propaganda, which was a crucial part in how Stalin maintained power over, should be the power in the Russian Revolution. Okay? I think this is a good inclusion of context. This is how this person has extended their analysis by referring to context. They haven't waited until the end, they have included it now. Okay? And it not only extends their analysis, it allows them to talk about context earlier, which is what you need. The other thing that I've included this response for, in terms of going on to what I want to look on to next, is textual reference. This person's reference a specific point. If they just said Squealer lies to the animals, okay, he does lie, but when? Can you give me an example? Can you show an understanding? Okay, this is textual reference. I want us to remember that when we look at a couple of later examples. Again, just briefly, the quotation is introduced perfectly. The quote, "Comrades, surely you don't want Jones to come back," shows that. Again, very good. This is a good textual reference, okay? Squealer makes many of his announcements surrounded by the dogs. Okay, we haven't quite got to that bit in the novel, but that is textual reference. That happens, okay? My only query about this is, where's the point sentence? Now, everything else in this paragraph should then relate to the dogs if this is the point sentence. But this is actually textual reference. This is actually your evidence. So we do need a point sentence in there, and it can be something like Squealer threatens the animals by both his words and his actions, okay, as epitomized by the dogs. For me, this is a great bit of textual reference, but it should be evidence. I thought this was one of the best responses in terms of structure, in terms of some of the language that's used. This person forgot about context, they added it in, but it does need to be in a sentence. I thought the point sentence is good. I like the use of satirical language, exaggeration. Okay, very good. Squealer is also hinting at how great everything is going on the farm, even though that things are bad, okay? I think that is a good piece of analysis. However, where's the evidence? When does he do this? When does he do this? Where is your textual reference, I suppose? Doesn't need to be a quote, textual reference. We do have a quotation here, but I wouldn't say that relates to this bit of analysis. I would say it relates to the analysis after. And again, blatantly lying is good for reference. I like the therefore, the connective, to allow you to extend it, however works well here. So this is a very, very good piece of analysis. It just needs more textual reference. Again, propaganda in the Russian Revolution is extending the analysis with reference to context. Right, these next two display significant weaknesses in the sense of the quality of analysis. So I'm going to have to go through them quite quickly. Basically, it's limited. So Squealer is a good spokesperson. Okay, where's the quotation to support that? And then, okay, can we extend that? He's trying to make the comrades believe something else. Okay, why? How does he persuade them? This one also, there's some structure, it's very good in terms of embedded quotations, but it's about extending the analysis. How does he do this? Why does he do this? We need to answer those questions in our analysis. How? Why? We can do that by referencing context. We can do that by referencing because, which, and we can do that by looking at keywords and quotes. I thought this was a very good example. Again, pause it, have a look. We did have a look at it in lesson. Structure, it's very good. It includes context, it's extended very well. This is Amara's, which we did look at also. And for me, this one is great analysis, just needs more textual references, more specific evidence. So hopefully that will help you Um,